It is now.
Hold on.
All right.
Bill's always got a problem.
What did you? This chair I used before because it's like leaning way forward now. And it makes that noise.
Ow! What are you doing?
Check 1, 2.
Oh yeah. What are we all at?
8 worked good last time as far as levels.
So everybody at 8.
Yeah, that worked great. I felt like the audio, I didn't have to turn it up as much.
Check 1, 2. So you did the. Are my ugly knees in the picture?
Go look at the camera.
Well, if I'm in the camera, I can't see my knees.
Just imagine where your knees are.
What's wrong with your knees?
They're ugly.
What the fuck?
He's got a bad knee complex.
Are we recording right now? All right, we're in the pre-show. We're talking about Bill's ugly knees. Let me look at your knee real fast.
Well, they're just funny knees and ugly shorts.
Funny knees, huh? I have really bony knees.
Oh,
Like
yeah?
my kneecap sticks out a lot.
Is that like from being a skater?
I have no idea. No, I don't think so. I think it just has to do with the way my knees developed. maybe as a skater, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Can I take my safety glasses off for the podcast?
I wish you would.
Is this going to be a safe podcast?
Yeah. Safety first whenever we're recording. Hell yeah. Well, that was a...
Can you hear that?
I can definitely
Yeah,
hear that.
everybody can hear that.
Thank God we're in the pre-show because...
we're making all our adjustments.
Yeah, people are... He's spilling water all over the place now.
Yeah, our refrigerator is
Now
now
he's taking a
freezing our water.
nice big sip of water.
We figured out why it's freezing the water.
Why?
It's too cold.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Alan, for letting us know.
All right. Well, that was a good pre-show.
I think
Yeah.
I'm ready. Are we
Ready to
all
rock
ready?
and roll.
Are we
All
ready
right,
to...
let's start that intro music.
That's your job. That's post-show work.
Yeah. All right,
Is
guys.
anybody listening to this old enough to remember the Great White North?
I'm not
Second
sure.
City TV?
There's probably some old guys.
I thought you were just
Okay.
referring to Alaska.
No, never mind. Okay, never mind.
All right, welcome to What's Cookin' in the Shop podcast with myself, Justin Modica of Modica Knives, a.k.a. JMod Knives on Instagram, and we got Tristan and Bill the Goat of Copper State Forge. They make beautiful pans and cooking utensils. And, yeah, we're here to talk about making stuff, cooking stuff, business behind all that
Selling
crap.
stuff?
Selling stuff, markets.
That's the hardest part, selling stuff.
Hell yeah, it is, especially in the slow season.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what you guys got going on in the shop? I noticed it's nice and clean in here.
Yeah, we extended the size of our grinding room. We added some of those hanging, what are they made out of?
Vinyl?
Vinyl
Clear
curtains
vinyl.
on there. Quiet it down a little bit when you're not in the grinding room.
You copied me.
Yeah, I did.
Did you get the
I
cheap
think
ones
you
from
invented
eBay?
those, right?
I did, yeah. They're called meat curtains.
Because they use them on the meat freezer at the grocery store.
Yeah. Isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. They just remind me of meat curtains, a different meat curtain.
We're starting early today, guys.
Okay.
Just kidding. I like to enter and go back and forth through the meat curtains.
You're made out of meat, right?
I guess.
And then you walk through them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Well, I think they use them at the front of refrigerated rooms, too. So.
You know,
Yeah,
that's the
that's
least
the-
fun version.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Never mind.
Anyways, we added these vinyl curtains. They're amazing. I actually bought mine off of Facebook Marketplace for like $40 for the whole set. And hanging them up was easy, and they help a lot. And in addition to doing that, we're trying to kind of keep the dust out of the showroom area and the rest of the shop, just so that way when people come in, we don't have to like wipe every pan down every time someone's going to come in and buy something. So just trying to minimize the dust, and we ended up adding, buckets of water right underneath each grinder. We have all 3 grinders in the grinding room now, which is a first. We've only had 2 in there for a long time. And our primary grinder was on a rolling cart in various places in the shop.
And just kind of precariously perched on the rolling cart.
yeah, it was
just
terrible.
it was one of those Amazon carts that wanted to pivot all the time.
Yeah, you go to
and
lean
roll
into
around.
it, and like the whole cart would just start walking. You have to walk after your grinder. It was really terrible. So now that we have some really, really good belts on our grinders, we wanted to get real serious about dialing them in and start using them.
Yeah, you've been trying them?
We have, yeah.
What do you think?
We love them.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, in fact, so I think this is the first time we've had ceramic belts, right?
No, we've had some ceramic in the past,
But
mostly aluminum oxide.
We
though.
were looking it up though, and you mentioned ceramic. You really want to press into it. You
Yeah.
really want to get into it. So we found out that one of our circuits isn't really made for getting into it with our grinder. 'Cause
Yeah.
you bog down the motor, and all of a sudden everything's off. Just pop.
Yep.
Oh, really?
So we kept
Pops a breaker?
I kept popping a breaker. We need a little bit more scoop
Yeah,
and
so
breaker.
we have to run an extension cord right now to run that one. But luckily, our other two machines, we've got a 3 horsepower grinder with a VFD attached to it. But we don't have a platen on that one. We usually just do slat grinding on that. And so now we need to add a platen to that one because you can really get after it. And I guess with these ceramic, if you're not really pushing into it hard, you're just letting the face of the belt just get really dull. But when you really lean into it, you knock that layer that's kind of glazed off of there, and you get a fresh layer of ceramic to top
fractures the ceramic into new sharp
fractures it,
edges.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the harder you press, actually, the better. You might wear the belt out faster, but it's doing a lot more work in the meantime.
So I tried something new. I heard that a glass platen
Yeah.
doesn't heat up as much, and it also stays a lot flatter. So I do mirrors as my side business, and I cut out a little piece of mirror the size of my platen. It was only 1/4 inch, and I double-sided stick taped it onto my platen.
Yeah.
Kind of adjusted it, and yeah, I ran it for one whole knife, and I switched the belt, and I noticed the piece of glass was all cracked.
Oh, no.
I
Yeah,
think they
like-
probably use like Pyrex or some sort of a heat-resistant glass.
Oh, really?
I don't know for sure, but
I don't know either. That
I might try that.
Yeah.
But yeah, with making knives, it's like anything to reduce heat going onto the blade, and I already have the misting system, so that helps a lot. But the platen still gets really hot, like after you change a belt, because I do lean into my grinds as well. Like I have a 2 horsepower motor, and I've bogged down the motor by pushing in so hard. So. But yeah, so I'm gonna go to my glass supply place that I go to and get like fucking inch mirror or 1/2 inch or something.
will your platen adjust in and out enough to make up for
Yeah,
that?
yep,
Nice.
yeah. So I'm gonna try that out and try not to crack that. It seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah,
Have
Yeah,
glass
yeah.
flying around.
One of the grinders that we bought secondhand, it's got like a 2 horsepower ball door motor on it.
Wait a minute, one of the grinders we bought secondhand?
Yeah, one of them. We bought 3.
All secondhand.
Yeah, one of them that we bought secondhand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess we did get all of them that way.
I didn't want to imply that we bought one brand new because
No.
we would never do anything like that.
No,
Not yet, anyways.
But the platen came with a piece of glass on it, and we don't really use that. But we do mostly slat grinding.
Yeah.
Right. Like we're just trying to contour and round edges, and it's not precise like it is with knife making. It's we're just making it comfortable to hold.
Right.
We pulled that platen off, but it's glass, and it's only I don't even know if it's 1/4 inch, and it's glued on there with something that it is never coming off.
Yeah, I don't know if because I used like a double-sided foam tape. I don't know if the foam was letting
too
it
much
flex.
give, yeah.
Yeah, so I could have probably adhered it better with something else, but I think I'm just gonna get some thicker glass.
So if anybody out there is doing this currently, let us know how you attach the glass to your platen. The best way to do that.
Yeah, because my metal platen is it's like the part where I lean in all the time. It's kind of dishing out a little bit, so I'm not getting those real flat grinds like I want. So, yeah.
Something to worry.
Yeah,
on, at least.
these new laser cut knives are pretty cool because I'm able to actually scribe a center line down the edge of the blade so I can get these nice and like straight. So I usually rely on my platen for the brute to forge stuff. I slap it against the platen vertically so that everything is nice. So I know my edge is nice and straight. But with the with the laser cut knives, I can just follow the center line.
That's a huge advantage,
Nice.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of speeds it up a little bit since you actually have a reference line instead of just having to constantly be
Check.
adjusting and thinking about it.
Yep.
That's great, man.
Yeah. I was happy with how they came out. You guys want to take a look at one?
We're looking
Yeah,
at
I
it.
do.
Wait, before we do, I think we should make clear, the whole reason we were talking about abrasives was because of where we got our new abrasives.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bill.
Where was that, Bill?
Benchmark abrasives.
Heck yeah.
Thank you, guys.
So, yeah, I mean, the whole discussion, it kind of stems from the new abrasives that we got and how great they're working so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah,
They
and
are
I
phenomenal.
actually had my apprentice clean for 2 days straight.
Wow.
And he cleaned my grinding room, and right when he was done, my order of Benchmark came in, and I got
Thank goodness.
got my box, and yeah, I was super stoked because now it's like I can actually walk in my grinding room now. Before I had like a little path sometimes that I could like scooch around and find my way in there. But no, it's dude, he killed it. Like he's really good at cleaning. I'm horrible at that. So yeah, I noticed that your shop's all clean.
Yeah, well-
mine's the same way right now. Like
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We had a class, so we also had to clean it up for that.
Also, speaking of cleaning or prepping for the podcast, we'll have to prepare ourselves not to have to get up in the middle of the podcast. And Justin and I were walking to the restroom with our scrub nuts in our hands.
Oh, yeah.
And I just noted also that, we happen to have those kind of jobs where you have to wash your hands before you go pee.
Yeah, that's what I did.
I thought you just always walk around with your scrub nuts in your hand.
I squirt a little on and then go pee.
I see.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's, yeah, that thing gets that dirty.
I like abrasive lube.
Ouch.
That
I'm just
sounds
kidding.
painful.
Just joking. They should make a.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, don't start that again.
Okay, never mind.
No, go ahead. I meant the laughing.
Oh no, yeah. Sorry about that on the
So-
last episode.
so
that
I,
laugh
I just
attack.
thought we ought to throw in that it was benchmark abrasives that got us going with our new abrasives. And now we can look at knives.
Yeah.
Yeah, check them out. I want you guys want your honest opinion.
All right. This is
'Cause
the
these
first
are
time
go-
we've seen them.
These are going to be my most affordable set, and so I'm leaving grind lines on them. I'm not hand sanding these at all. And then let Tristan see one. There's 2 of them.
Okay. Are they the same?
No. So the one you're holding, I did a couple little things, like I burned the tang and like
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
the spine of the knife to give a little rainbow effect.
Okay.
That also softens up the steel up top, so it's not brittle. But and then I burnt the ends of them, so I'm calling it my burnt series.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I use heat to kind of burn parts of the knife to give a little. I feel like it's kind of distracting from the non-hand sanded finish. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think? You were giving me shit a couple episodes ago about me sitting there having to hand sand and it's a waste of time, blah blah blah.
Well, I'm glad you took my advice, Justin.
so how's the finished look?
I
What
am
do
a
you think?
sage knife maker. I
I
have
like
lots
it.
of experience.
I like it, yeah.
I'm just kidding. I have no experience. However, when I look at this knife, I think it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think for a knife that's going to be a lot more affordable for your customers, it's going to be perfect. It's going
Yeah.
to get them started in loving carbon steel, and then if they want to upgrade from here, they can. But you might not have given them a reason to upgrade. It's
So it's got a little fuller on one side. You call this a fuller, the release
Yeah, that's a S grind
S grind? Okay.
on,
All right.
on one side.
But it's an S grind that you can actually see. Some of the S grinds are so subtle, you don't even know they're there. Right?
Exactly. So I used a 8-inch wheel instead of a 12-inch.
Okay.
Or no, 24-inch. Sorry. So on my other knives, my Valley set, I call them, I use a 24-inch radius, and that's got an 8-inch radius. But it actually, I did some test cuts on it. It performs pretty well, and I left
Nice.
the 36 grit grind marks in it to
Right.
kind of add as a texture focal point type of thing,
Well-
to distract that there's no hand sanded finish.
Okay.
sure.
So I'm trying to kind of show that the other part is somewhat polished. But the whole idea behind this whole
So you kind of go
knife.
from brute forging to brute sanding.
Exactly, yeah. That's kind of how I thought of it, and
Yeah.
and kind of do other things that take your eye away from the fact that it's not hand sanded. And I don't know if I'm doing that for knife makers or if I'm doing that for
Yeah.
because I know knife makers will talk shit. Oh, it's not even a hand sanded finish.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So-
Knife makers aren't buying your knives.
Exactly.
They're making their
Yeah,
own.
you're not selling to knife makers. So I noticed too. So you get these laser cut, but you still have that's a distal taper, right?
Yeah,
It
so
gets
I
like-
grind that in.
like super thin. So you still grind that in.
Yep,
That is a
There's
very
a lot of work here still.
Yeah, there's still a lot of work here.
very thin.
Yeah.
Yeah,
super thin
I
at
made
the
them
tip.
super thin. I mean, it's definitely a workhorse, and yeah.
All right.
But yeah,
Well,
that's the
I
new
will-
series.
I will tell you one thing that you will find with these. So, the non-hand sanding and leaving this, because we just had an experience with this with one of our great customers.
Yeah.
So you want to tell the story?
Yeah, so-
Because you kind of responded to it.
I got an email from a guy who says, "Hey, I just bought an 8-inch octagon pan from you. It just came in, and I noticed there's a lot of tool marks on the backside of this pan, and I don't like those tool marks, so I might need to swap it out for a different one."
Well, actually, he just said wanted to return it.
No, he said he would swap it out
Oh,
for a
okay.
different one.
Okay.
So I had to explain to him like,
Well, you
I
thought you had to
thought I had to explain. So I said, "Hey, listen,
Before we realized he was an existing customer, I mean, it's hard to keep everybody straight in our heads. Whose customers that have already bought and who haven't, off the top of our heads, anyways.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track anymore. When you see them at the market, you can, but when you're doing it online, it's like you see a lot of names every day.
Yeah.
Or well, maybe not every day, every week.
Not quite as often as we'd like. But
Yeah.
it's more than 3 names. It's already overwhelming for me. So
Yeah, Bill's overwhelmed easily now. So anyway, so this guy emails, says, "Hey, here's a picture," and I look at him like that looks like every other octagon pan we've ever made.
Yeah.
Right. So I wrote him back, explained, "Hey, listen, every one of these pans is pressed and hammered by my dad and I. We have a couple of part-time people, but all of our pans are going to look exactly that way.
yeah,
Like,
it
there's not going to be any
anything
difference
highly
there.
unusual about
No.
it. Although I did look at some other pans just this morning afterwards, and like the hybrid pans have a little bit less pronounced marking. Like we don't torture them quite as much getting them to that shape as apparently we do the
Yeah.
octagon pans, which is what he had.
So the story.
So the story, sorry.
Okay. So I write him back and I explain him all this stuff to him and how we make the pans. Hey, listen, we press them into a mold, and so that's just part of the journey and the joy of owning something that's handmade is you get to see those tool marks and I took a picture of 3 of our other hybrid octagon pans that looked exactly the same. So, hey, you're not going to be able to swap this out because you're not going to like the next one if you don't like this one. They all
Yeah.
look the same. So I'm real sorry if you just don't like it, then send it back. I'll give you a refund. And this is like 2 paragraphs long. I have links to videos. And then he writes back and he says, "Oh, I already own like 3 more of your pans and they don't look like this. And so that's why I just wanted to swap it for a different one. I love your pans."
He has round pans.
So he already knows all about hand-forged pans. He owns some of our pans. He has pans that we've made.
Weird.
And so he goes, "Well, those ones have marks, but not big, heavy marks like the octagon. So it's a function of how we make that particular shape. That's why they
Yeah.
turn
So-
out that way."
So, yeah.
Good.
So this all got brought around to like, what do you think people are going to say about my knives?
So basically, I mean, you've got a brute to sand finish, let's call it that,
Okay.
which you should sell as a feature, but some people's features are other people's bugs.
Okay.
And so there'll be an occasional person where they're going to, the knife guys will go like, yeah, it's not hand sanded. 95% of the people at a farmer, or, who look at this who aren't knife people, don't even know your other knives are hand sanded. They're going to have
Yeah.
to ask you,
Oh, yeah.
well, what is hand sanded,
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean a thing to them. And then occasionally you'll have somebody come up and go like, oh, there's tool marks on it. It'll probably be a machinist or something like that. Somebody not necessarily into knives, but somebody who also makes or does tool
Yeah.
work.
So
They'll go
the
like,
trick is to
"Oh,
tell them
there's
how much
tool
of a
works."
feature it is.
And you
up
tell them how
front.
much. Yeah, it's like not only does that S grind, help with release, but the fact that you've got these micro grooves in here also help with the release.
Oh yeah.
Micro grooves.
Yeah.
So
I
I
was
don't-
kind of wondering if people were gonna say like, oh, that's gonna trap moisture and leave more rust or something like that. But
Have you
Will
tried
it?
it yet?
I mean, I made this one for myself, so this is kind of like my test run.
Okay.
And if it ends up rusting in that area after a month or so, I might just start polishing up that area and go through the grits like I do with the rest of the finish of the blade. But I just thought it would be a cool little feature. And then also on the handle, I have some flat grind spots that I'm leaving grind texture in too to match the blade.
That's cool.
And they're rounded handles instead of octagon.
I like them though. That you've got these flats at the front, so they're rounded, but they still index. In your hand.
So you can still. It's not going to slip around on you.
Yeah.
You know where your knife is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. People seem to like them as far
I
as
like 'em.
knife makers on
These are sweet.
Instagram so far.
Question: you've got the fuller on the right-hand side. I assume because people are right-handed or
Yeah,
holding something.
it's kind of a right-handed knife.
That's
Yeah.
right. Are there handed knives, or you have right-handed knives and left-handed knives?
I'm not going to. If someone's left-handed and they ask if it's left or right-handed and they figure that out, I'll just say that I can make a set for you that's left-handed.
That's a good plan. We make our steak flippers that are handed, right-handed, left-handed, and we make like one left-handed for every 4 that we make.
Yeah.
Right-handed,
Okay.
and that seems to be about the right ratio. But if you're only going to have a couple knives with you, then might as well be right-handed.
Yeah, exactly. And then if someone's like, "Oh, I really want a left-handed one," I'll be like, "All right, well, just give me some money and I'll make you one."
Extra custom.
Yeah. So another thing I've been thinking about adding with my knives is I kind of want to get some golf towels printed. They come with like a little grommet hole and a little ring, and I could get my logo printed on it and maybe sell those. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea?
Heck yeah.
I would.
Just
Why not?
just to keep it with your knife, and you can always wipe it down. You know which rag is for the knife. And it's got my logo on it. So
Oh, yeah, dude.
I don't
That'd
know.
be great.
I think for like 150 or $200, so not too bad.
Yeah,
But you think
that's
people would actually
minute.
buy those?
150, $200 for the golf towel?
Yeah,
150 of them
Yeah.
for $200.
Oh,
yeah.
Is that with your
those
logo
are-
on it?
Those
Yeah.
are amazing golf
Where?
towers. I thought they were
What?
selling them for that. I was like, what?
No. I don't know. Some website. I just priced it out the other day, but I don't
They'd
really
to
have.
be made from a
I don't really
packet.
have $200 to spend on golf towels right now, but
Yeah.
150 will go a long way. I think.
Oh yeah. What do you get? $20 for them
You think I could sell a towel for $20?
with your logo? It's a knife towel. It's special. It's got special shit in it.
It is microfiber.
Okay.
Those little golf towels.
I thought they were usually terry cloth.
I think these ones are microfiber. I don't know. But you know what I was thinking too? It's because it has a little clip, like a little wire, like round clip.
Yeah.
If I extended the butt plug out on my knife handles and drilled a little hole, I could like have it to where you could clip the towel to the knife. So you can just, so the towel's always with the knife. I mean, you wouldn't use it with it on it, but like when you throw it in the drawer.
I don't know. Yeah.
You don't like my butt plugs, do you?
No, the plugs are great. I don't know.
Look at
about
that one. That one.
having a towel attached to my
They call
knife
that
every
like
time
a-
I pull it out.
Like whenever you have little steps in your handles and stuff like that, they call it like a museum fit up.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's just adds a little texture, adds a little step, and that's why I stick the bamboo out of the front too. It's something to feel, and it makes it more unique.
It's like a fidget spinner.
I guess you can finger the butt plug if you want on the end of your knife.
I've been waiting for that. I'm gonna have to buy one of these knives just for that. That's my favorite feature.
They
Actually.
feel great.
I suggested the other day that
So
maybe you.
I don't know if you'd want to keep it in the drawer with a towel attached. Somebody's going to reach in the drawer, grab the towel, and just whip it out of there, and
Oh shit. Yeah,
cut somebody's throat.
I'll just have the golf towels separately.
Yeah.
But it would be cool, like if you are cooking a whole meal, that little clip you hook on your pants, like a chef,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
chefs do that,
Or a golfer.
or a golfer does that. So I don't know. I want to do that.
I think
is
that would
cool.
be a
I
really
think-
cool addition.
I think we should do those too. Actually, why not? Dish
Let's
towels.
see
They're
if-
dish towels. Yeah. Let's see how Justin
let's see if
does
Justin
first.
makes any money with them first.
Yeah, I also would probably just give them to people who buy knives.
Yeah,
I do that all the time. Like I'm like, here's wax, here's a
We do
honing
that.
rod.
We've
here's
been doing that
Here's a
with our-
strop. Thanks for buying a knife. Like trying to give them more free shit.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
been doing that with our stainless steel scrubbers too.
Yeah.
Well, at least one of us has. I don't.
Yeah,
I'm
they're-
not naming names.
They're almost gone, and I haven't made any money on them yet.
But
so-
you want people to be able to take care of the product that they're buying.
yeah, for $20.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we buy those, and they're not exactly cheap. It's not like we make them for close to nothing. You know, it's
Right.
I mean, they are relatively inexpensive. There's a decent markup on them, but it's not like huge. You know?
Yeah.
But when you're spending a lot of money on something, it's nice to give them that extra touch. The hardest part I have with it is I have almost as much into the little scrubby as we do into the hard cost of a skillet.
The material cost.
The material cost, yeah. So
Not the full hard cost. But
if I spend $10 to buy something that I resell for $10, I'm only spending 14 or 15 on all of my laser cut pieces that I'm going to forge out to make a pan. So it's like it almost doubles the hard expense of making a skillet. So when you look at it like that, you go, that's kind of a good giveaway item, I guess. So we need to give it away when, I don't know, you know, if it gets the sale made, it gets the sale
tactically,
made.
we do. I make the mistake of sometimes I go, the sale's already done, and I go like, oh yeah, here's a scrubber. That didn't help anybody as far as our end goes. Helps the customer,
Yeah.
but it didn't help make the sale. Whereas
Sometimes
if
it-
somebody's on the fence, you go like, hey, buy a pan, and we'll throw in the scrubber.
Yeah, as like a last
Then
resort.
tactically, that makes total sense.
That's
Yeah.
what I do. Like I'll be like, I'll throw in, this leather strop if you were to buy it. It seems like you really like it, and they're like, and I'll be like, I always keep throwing stuff. I'm like, and $20 off. Like, just come on, just fucking go home with it. Just please
But
buy
you got to
it.
wait till they're really considering it to start offering stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you can just never tell when they're
Because if
just
you
gonna
do it up
walk
front,
away.
they weren't going to buy it anyways. It's like,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, shit. The market recap. We went to Munns Park together, and you picked me up, and
Yep.
we went there together, and it was fun. I mean, I had fun.
It was fun. It was expensive fun.
Yeah.
Because
We went on a little trip together, bud. Just think about it
I
like
know.
that.
Little day trip.
it was fun. It really
you didn't-
was.
so
And the
you didn't-
weather was beautiful. It was much
Yeah.
cooler than being in there, like down in the valley, in Phoenix Valley,
It's
which
a-
was terrible.
And Munns Park is one of those little tiny markets where it's kind of a boom or bust situation. And
Yeah.
Yep.
So it was a bust.
It was
for
a bust.
Pretty much both of us.
Well,
Because
you
I paid a
sold
lot.
Knife.
I paid, yeah, but I paid like a little application fee, and I paid the 10%, and I think I gave the dude $25 off. So it's like
Yeah.
I sold this Nikiri I normally would want about $350 for $200.
Ooh.
Like that's how much I pretty much
After
walked.
you paid
That's
all
how
the
After everything.
after I
After
paid
everything,
everything, I
yeah.
walked away with $200.
Okay. Well, less than that because you bought some barbecue too.
I know. You want to
So-
give a yummy scale on that?
It was pretty good.
What would you say?
I'd say two,
'Cause I know what I would say.
two and a half maybe.
Yeah,
What would you give it?
I'm about 1.5.
Yeah.
You thought it was pretty good, huh?
I thought it was a 2. The
Just-
sides were actually
Justin's
really good.
from Texas. He's got this whole barbecue unrealistic
that's true.
expectations.
Maybe it was because I was smelling that ass wood burning
Oh
all
my
day.
gosh.
Just
The
kind
wood
of
is
my
weird. The wood, I don't know what they're cooking with.
They ass wood because it smells when they burn it. You walk up, you're like, oh, it smells like ass.
yeah, like
Like it makes you nauseous.
it should make you hungry, not fucking sick to your stomach.
It is nauseating.
It's weird, but
I don't know what it is, but it's gross. And
Yeah.
it doesn't transfer onto the food. The meat does not taste like ass.
Yeah, is it bad to be like talking bad about their barbecue?
No, their barbecue is good.
Well, I mean, like, are we gonna rub anyone the wrong way?
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, like
We're
I said,
just being
I would
honest.
give it a 2. A 2 is a good solid score.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it's a 6-point system. 3 negative, 3 positive.
Yep.
So anytime it's a 1 or better, that's a pretty good meal.
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, plus we were kind of towards the end of the day too, but
Yeah, we split it, and yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I like the corn the best.
the corn was good.
I don't know. It had like chilies, green chilies, or something weird in it, diced up,
Yeah, I think it was green chili.
something like that.
I liked it.
It was good though.
So Justin, you walked away with a little under $200. I sold one bottle opener to a friend for $10,
Did
Yeah.
you throw in the stainless steel?
and I had to pay
Chain mail?
$20 to be there. That's the minimum. No, I did not.
Oh, okay.
So I had to pay $20 to be there. I sold $10, so I came out -10. And the deal
Take
was
out your gas.
Justin bought lunch, I bought gas. So I came out definitely negative.
Yeah.
That was a rough go.
You got to at least come check out my house finally.
I know, that was awesome.
Yeah. So
It's
what'd
a
you
sweet shop.
What'd you think besides all the beer cans that I could totally pick up that I leave on the ground?
I like your house. It's like it's well curated. Like,
It's broken in.
well, what I mean is like your kitchen was awesome. You could tell that you put a lot of work into like growing cool plants. You had really nice things. You had a big old bucket hanging from the ceiling that had. I think you need to put a light in there. Like it looked cool. Like you're the side of your house. You have like a mural painted on it. Right when you walk up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's just. I thought it was really cool. It was
Yeah.
great. Your daughter hates me, but it was really cool.
Yeah. My 1.5-year-old was just crying at him the whole time.
Apparently, I'm
he's
terrifying.
scary. He's scary.
You were being so nice too. It was pretty funny.
I tried hard. I have
She needed
three
her
girls.
nap. She needed her nap.
Yeah, whatever. She told me not to come back.
I know. I was
basically.
gonna say you're not really allowed over now.
I don't know if Ava liked me either. She's like, "You're the guy that my husband always wants to leave the house to go hang out with." I'm like, I guess I am kind of cool. I don't know.
No, but you should see it now. The shop looks so much better. I mean, and because for the past few weeks, a lot of people have been picking up their custom orders. I just make them drive over, and I'm kind of embarrassed about the yard and the house and the area surrounding the shop itself. So that's why I had Asa kind of buckle down and cleaning. But so before I cleaned, I did have a customer come pick up an EDC, and it came with a sheath, and I did these toolings on the sheath, and so I have them laid out on a table on the cutting board, and I'm like, yeah, here's your knives, because he bought an Akiri and an EDC with a sheath, and he's like, oh, these are awesome. He pulls the knife out of the sheath, and he's going to stick it back in the sheath, and he's like not really getting it in there very well, and he stuffs it just like, I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but he just stuffs it really hard directly through all the tooling that I did.
And out the side of the.
And no, out the front of the sheath.
my
Like it
gosh.
was literally punctured
Through the leather?
the
Like, not
entire-
through the seam, didn't cut the seam. He went
no,
through the leather.
through the leather. Through the artwork, just right out of the front of the sheath. And I was like, and it was the whole blade shot through. And he's like, well, I could say on the knife side, very impressive how sharp it is. And I was like, I don't know what to do, because they weren't even like the tightest fit sheaths I've ever done. Like it was like you could tip it upside down and shake it, and the knife's not going to fall out.
And that's
but
thick leather.
and it was, yeah, it's about the thickest tooling leather that you can get from Tandy.
Wow.
So I don't know what. Yeah, so I super glued it right over the artwork and sprayed it with a little activator so it dried right away, and sent him on his way. Got my money, and
You break it, you buy it.
exactly, yeah. I was just like,
Wow.
but yeah, it was kind of one of those things that I spent so much time tooling this snake on there, and I drew the snake by hand and had to, I was on the tracing paper like we were talking about last week, or I was
Yeah.
erasing all the lines. I wanted to get the snake to fit perfectly on this sheath, and I sat there and tooled it and stained it, and he just stabs it. I was like, damn it, what the hell? But yeah, figured I would just bring that up. It's okay, Tristan. People can hear.
I think
them.
it's squealing tires outside, somebody turning the corner or something. People can drive right outside our shop, inside our
forklifts,
building.
everything. So when I hear something, well, I was trying to make sure it wasn't in here. that we were causing the sound.
Oh yeah. You love to get up and walk away. And then Bill, and
And
then
it makes Justin nervous for some reason.
well, I'm sitting here talking to nobody because Bill's usually staring at you, watching you walk through the shop, and I'm sitting here like
he
staring
doing?
at the camera, like, what do I say to you
Wait a
guys?
minute, there's a camera? Oh,
There is a camera.
But and then Bill did Flagstaff on Sunday and had a good day.
had a decent day, yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty good day. So he sold a few pans. That was great. That kind of held things together. And then we've done some online sales this week, so that was nice. Not doing a sale or anything, but we did all right as far as that goes. So
Cool.
we'll live to forge another week, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Forge another week.
You know, one thing that, did we talk about this? We noticed that, like, last couple of, I think Dallas was the same way. The people who bought pans, they just bought pans. They just walk up and go like, oh yeah, these are kind of
I
nice.
want one.
I'll take that one. And the people who usually would kind of walk up and go like, and they start thinking about it, and they're going to think about it, and then they end up buying pans.
Yeah.
We're not getting as much of that right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's, you know, I'm sure it's the economy. You know, people who have the money, and they just walk up and go like, I'll do a pan. But people who have to make a decision about whether or not they have the money don't even want to have to make the decision right now.
Yeah.
just-
And I don't know that it's the economy. I mean,
Okay.
if you listen to the Work For It podcast, you have to know that, like, every business, this is the slow season.
Right.
And people might think it's the economy, they might think it's this, they might think it's that, but this fall is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
And so we've got to get ready for that. We went back and looked through our website and our in-person point of sale system, Square, to kind of evaluate how last year went. And we're killing last year, right? We're way ahead. But if you look at the whole year and you divide it by quarters, we did 2/3 of all of our sales in Q4.
Yeah. Well, it's
So-
the holiday season. Like I said,
Yeah.
we're a retail outlet ultimately.
Yeah,
and
so-
they all do their numbers in the
Yeah.
holiday season.
And if we do the math, we need to make somewhere between 600 and 800 skillets between now and the end of the year, at least.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now we're preparing now, but it's like, I feel like we're already behind. And so the cash flow thing's a big deal because the sales aren't happening right now. Like, we're doing okay. We're keeping our heads above water. But for us to buy enough steel to get ahead that far, we need to have more money, you know? So it's
Yeah.
like, do we run a sale? What do we do? And so we did do a sale, like we mentioned before last week, and it did pretty well. So we'll probably do like a barbecue tools sale or something like that coming up, and try to get that cash flow just so we can pay some more help and labor, get more pans made, and just get ahead. Because, I mean, we're on track to probably at least double what we did last year in Q4. And if we try to do that, if we try to manufacture in Q4, we're going to fail. We're going to run out of product, and we're going to kick ourselves because we're going to leave a bunch of money on the table. So
Got to
we're
open
trying
up
to-
another credit card and buy some more steel.
Oof, I don't know about that. I don't like debt. I don't like debt. I've had bad experiences with credit.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't yet.
You will.
You will.
I guess, yeah. I don't know. I broke my leg a while ago, and it was right when I started the glass and mirror business.
Yeah.
And I had a few people running to do installs and stuff, and I was doing consultations on crutches, but I pretty much didn't work for about 2 months. And I went into debt, and I had to get credit cards to pay for everything, and I got right out of it pretty
That's
quick.
good.
That's good.
But now, yeah, this power hammer has me in debt a little bit, but I'm hoping to get out of it.
Yeah.
Which I think I will, because like you were just talking about, you looked at last year versus this year. And last year I made about, I don't know exactly how much money I made. I took a lot of cash and Venmo jobs and stuff. But I made a little over 100 knives last year.
Okay.
I counted them all.
Nice.
I don't even know if I can count them this year. But I know that I've made about 100 already.
Yeah. That's
So
amazing.
So I'm about double of what I did last year too. At least it's going to
Well,
be.
And let's assume you're going to do 2/3 of your sales. So just double what you've already done, and that's probably how many you'll sell this fall. And that's
Yeah.
not including what you sell between now and November or October.
Yeah.
So August and September, if you do another 20 knives, 30 knives, double that number, that total number up to that point, and expect to do that in the fall.
Yeah. Because, I'm excited for the fall.
So yeah, maybe we will have to figure out how to buy more inventory.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I don't know about the whole like economy thing, but my mom did. I was talking to her a little bit, and she was like, "Well, you don't watch the news, but if you did, they're scaring people into not spending money right now. Like the
Yeah.
news is, and they're like saying that we're gonna have some big crash and stock markets, blah blah." And I was just like, it don't matter.
They
Like,
say that every year.
Yeah. Wait till I come out with this new run of laser cut knives. People are
Yeah.
gonna be fucking all over them.
Yeah, heck
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and,
I think they're great. So I think
and you save time, right?
Yeah, I saved about an hour, I think.
That's good.
And that's in
hour out of how many hours on a knife?
I think I'm about 4 hours on a knife right now.
So these are down to 3?
I think they're about 3 hours, yeah. So I'm getting better.
That's
Nice.
awesome, dude.
And you think I would be making more of them if that's the only amount of time that I'm spending on them, but yeah, I don't know. It's hot. I've been
Yeah.
It's
I've
a
been
rough time
inside.
of year.
But you know what's funny is it's been 100 the past 2 days, and I'm like, oh my god, the weather's so nice. Like 100, 100
If it's under
degrees.
110, you're going like, okay, it's decent out.
Yeah,
Well-
dude, the past 2 days were freaking great, and I got so much shit done.
It's been nice and overcast.
And if it's under
yeah.
100, it's a chance to break out our sweaters.
Right? Yeah. 95. I'm like, get my hoodies
So,
out.
in fact, we were just talking about doing a barbecue tool sale.
Yeah.
And all the rest of the country, they're wrapping up their barbecue season. Here, we're just going into it.
Yeah,
We're just
right.
getting started. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
been too hot. But I think that as you make more and more of these laser cut blank knives, you're going to get so much faster. Because when we first started out and we were if we made 3 pans in a day, Bill and I together, we were thrilled. But then we started batching it up, and not too far ahead. But if you just take 10 knives through each process at the same time, and you don't have to change all of your tooling and your belts
Yeah.
and all that, you'll find yourself making so many more knives.
Yeah.
And that's the trick. And then, we've been making pans for 3 years, and we've been hammering every wrinkle out of every pan by hand for almost 3 years now. And we just discovered this week, when I realized how many pans we need to make, that there is a better way.
Dude, that
We
looks
are-
freaking sweet.
So it's like, okay, every shop made power hammer that's been up for sale in the last 2.5 years, we've bought, right? We have 2 Kenyon style air hammers, and we bought a Helve style mechanical hammer. And it's kind of slow, it hits hard, but it's like, I don't know. It wasn't my favorite. But we were looking at it the other day, and we saw the dies, and they're undercut, and they're rounded on top. They're pieces of railroad track. And I thought there's got to be a better way. And Justin's mentioned this to me before also when he was here hammering out pans. He's like, there's got to be a way to use a power hammer.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about it this whole time. And finally, I just said, you know what? We had some part-time help here, and they were hammering out most of the pans, a couple of young guys in their early 20s. So when they were hammering them out, I didn't understand the need for using the power hammer to hammer them out.
Then we're
Now-
back to us
Because
hammering
they
them
were
out.
doing
It's
it, now
like,
that
uh-oh.
we're doing it, and these guys are back to school, I'm like, holy shit, this is a lot of work, and we need to do 20 pans a day between
Yeah.
now and the middle of October. And that takes a lot of manpower. So we modified the dies, rounded them off, adjusted the way they sit on the hammer, and we are now able to do most of the hammering using the power hammer. So
Knock the big wrinkles
The
out.
big
and
wrinkles
then,
out.
Then
We're
finish it
still-
up with the hand hammer for,
Yep.
for look and texture, aesthetics, and that sort of thing.
So
Bill's
you're
right.
always trying to get me to work here for you.
Yes,
and
yes, I'm
be in
trying.
charge of making, be the production.
Oh, now you want to
manager.
work here, now that the power hammer does the work, huh?
I'm thinking about it. I might quit. I might quit the knife thing and be a pan maker.
You
And
just
This is what I need. You work 3 days for me, you work 2 days for you.
nah, we're not.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew you were going to do that. But now that and this is a hilarious story, right? Like, we used to get so worn out hammering out pans because those big wrinkles in 12 gauge cold rolled is hard,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And you're trying to knock out a wrinkle that's sitting an inch proud from the rest of the rounded part of the pan, and it takes a few hits with a 36-ounce hammer, and you're beat after each one. You get into a rhythm and it gets a little better, but even when it's 78 degrees in here, you're pouring sweat, you're working your ass off. And now
You were sitting too.
I sat down.
You were sitting. I know.
I ran 10 of our 12-inch deep pans, which are basically the hardest to hammer out probably. And when I was done, I just had to touch up the edges and texture them, right, with a rounding hammer. I got exhausted just adding some texture and the final touches. And I'm like, last week we were hammering these out by hand, but I did all that in like 3 hours. Normally, that was at least a day's worth of work.
Dude, that's a game changer.
A day's worth of work.
I told you can use one of your power hammers.
I told you could laser cut knives out. See,
I know. I didn't think I was going to like that process. And like the first one, I was like, all right, here we go. Like, not very excited. I was like, well, I can scribe a center line. That's kind of cool. And I did that. And then, I don't know. And then just messing with it, and I was like, oh, I want to add some heat to it to give a little rainbow effect. And I was like, I'm going to go a little, there's a lot of people, or not a lot of people, a few people do it, but they do just the tang where it just peeks out of the knife handle.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, I got an induction forge. I'm going to like zap the whole spine of this thing.
Dude,
and
that's
try to really rainbow it out.
I like the fingerprint too.
Yeah, I know. That's my touch mark.
Now, did you get a fingerprint? Did you like brand yourself at the same time?
Or you just had a little oil on your hand and you touched it when you were after it cooled.
I'm not really sure how it got there. I was just fidgeting with it, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, there's a fingerprint on there. And I tried to rub it off, and and it didn't come. I mean, it didn't come off.
Yeah, we got it.
He couldn't get it off, guys.
God damn it.
So, well, here's the thing. Like, one thing that I think is Brian House over at Work For It says, we're working together now. We do totally different kinds of products, right? There's overlap in our customers, but it's a different kind of product. But he always says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I feel like that's kind of what we're doing here. We're going together.
Yeah.
And we're learning from each other on these different stages and steps. And things that you wouldn't normally do, we're encouraging you to try, and vice versa.
Vice versa, yeah.
And it's helping both of us tremendously.
Oh,
and
yeah,
especially,
absolutely.
As we try to grow our businesses, that's the most important thing, because labor's hard to get and it's expensive now. And so if you can perfect a process and get the labor factor of that as low as possible, it makes it a lot easier to be able to pay somebody $25 or $30 an hour or whatever it requires to get somebody who's skilled labor to come and help you. I mean, I can get somebody to swing a hammer for 18 or 20 bucks, but it takes a lot of training and work with them. If we can perfect that process and they can come in and within a week we can have them working and making pans, not the entire process, but at least the labor-intensive parts.
Specific parts of it.
And then it helps tremendously, yeah.
Also, one thing that we've been finding out recently is we thought a certain part of the finishing the pans was the easy part. We could just start people on that. And it's turned out that we've had to redo the last 4 steps on a bunch of pans, or last 2 steps anyways.
It's things that we take for granted because we've been here. I mean, we started this. We've been here since the beginning. So we understand, hey, if you have a little oil on your hand, you can't touch it.
Touch a pan before you put it into blue.
Like, you kind of assume people would know that, and that is not common knowledge.
I don't
people
think
don't think about
I don't think I would know that.
Yeah, so so we forget sometimes. We show people one time.
We just go here, you wash this pan, put it in here, turn it on, and it turns blue, and then
lo and behold, you got fingerprints all over it when it's done. And that's not a big deal.
And part of it is our process. I mean, we've got a towel over there where we oil pans too, and so if you wash it and then set it down on that towel, there's residual oil in it, and we always just go we wash it and hang it, and we just don't even think about it. Just boom.
It's just we know the process, and we know why we do things,
and then
they don't know the why. They just know I got to wash this and put it in the oven.
Right. And then and after it's blue, if it successfully made it through the bluing, then we season it. We always go hey, you got to wipe all the oil off. Well, one person's wiping all the oil off is somebody else's
slathering it on,
or vice versa, or going well, I wiped it down, but It's like
It's nuts.
No, you have to act. Yeah, it's
Well, and then, so here's the problem. So then
and we do leave people to their own devices.
We do.
We're not great. We've got to get way better at training people, and I do especially. I have a hard time telling people you're doing it wrong.
yeah, and it's tough for
I
me
have a
too.
really hard
I've gotten
time.
better, but I hide it. But so like, okay, so one of the issues we have is I'll go like, hey, so-and-so, these pans just came out from bluing, and I can see that in the corners it didn't get washed really well, so there's some little chalky residue from the tumbler machine, which is not that big of a deal because the stuff we use is not harmful or anything, and you can wipe it off after it's been blued. But you point that out to them and go, hey, you need to wash these a little bit better, make sure you get these corners, right? And if they were washing 20 pans an hour before, now they're like terrified, and they're washing 4 pans an hour. And you're like, hey, we can't pay $6 a pan to wash them. You know, you gotta pick it up. So you just gotta pay attention, get used to it. So kind of the process that I use now is when we get somebody started on something new, I tell them, I say, take as long as it needs to make it perfect.
Yeah.
Spend as much time as it takes. If you're washing that pan, make sure you scrub every single corner in the octagon or the hybrid. Make sure you get around the rivets. Make sure you get the backside of it. Wash that thing really well. Touch every square inch of that thing with an SOS pad. Rinse it really well. Dry it really well. And I tell them, make sure they're perfect. I don't care if it takes you an hour to wash a pan. I do care, but I let them go at it for a while.
I don't care right now.
Yeah, so that first day, they might get 10 pans washed all day and blued. And the next day I'll go, great, now let's take a look at these. If there's any issues, I'll say, slow it down, do it again. Maybe they wash 6 pans the next day. Then when they have a perfect batch of pans come out, I say, great, now that you did 6 pans in a day, you need to do 24 tomorrow, and they better be just as perfect. But once they understand the whole process and how to get it there, then they can speed that process up and nail it every time.
Yeah.
Now, you do have to retrain occasionally, because sometimes I'll even find myself, I'll pull a pan, I'll go like, oh, I didn't wipe the corners of these very well. I need to do a better job of that next time. So you still have to revisit it, but once they figure out how to do it perfectly, they've asked all the questions, they've sorted it out in their mind, and they understand it, then you can hit the fast forward button and get them really cranking them out, and they do a much better job. And so that allows us that freedom to let them do their own thing at first, make a quick correction that makes sense, and then send them on their way.
And I don't want to cast any aspersions on anybody who's been helping us out.
Oh, no,
it's a
they're
training
amazing.
issue on our side.
Oh, yeah. It's, it's just been Bill and I, right? Like, and these guys that come in and help, they're not guys that have done this kind of work a whole lot. Some of them have.
And for us, we kind of go like, well, yeah, you just do it like this. Well, it took us 4 months to figure out how to just do it like that.
A guy that you had to retrain how to wash a pan 3 times will sometimes go, well, why don't you do this part of it that way? And you're like, holy shit, how did I not think of that? For the last 2.5, this guy had trouble washing the pans perfectly, but he nailed how to punch the holes for the rivets or something like that. It's like some things click and some things take a little longer.
Yeah. Yeah, my apprentice Asa, he's pretty spot on. He's catching on so quick. And I'm like, to the point where I'm like, I'm going to have him start doing a decent amount more, not just cleaning the shop or stuff like that. But he's killing it, dude. He's making his own knives, and they're turning out great. And proud of that boy. But you guys were just talking about like seasoning and stuff a little bit. We had someone on Instagram chime in and wanted to ask you guys a question. I don't really know the answer to it. So from Bob Workman, if you want to read that.
Yeah, let's see here. So he says, I have a few cast iron pans, which my process works great, but the same doesn't work so great on my steel wok. Any advice would be great. Cheers, guys. Okay, so I have a follow-up question, and hopefully he listens and he can follow up here. Is the issue that you're having sticking in your wok, or is the issue that it looks differently than your cast iron?
Yeah, because it's never going to look like your cast iron.
It's probably never going to. Like maybe if
when
you
he says steel wok, do you think it's carbon
it's a
steel?
carbon steel,
steel,
yeah.
yeah.
Most woks traditionally are a carbon steel.
Lodge does make a cast iron one. but
Yeah.
It's super funky.
There's it weighs like 300 pounds. You can't use it like a wok.
Yeah.
Like you can't pick it up and like saute stuff, So what I would say is your cast iron is going to turn jet black. It's very porous. Cast iron's porous. And those pores collect carbon when you're cooking, burn little pieces of food, right? Like microscopic. They get down in the pores, you season over the top of that, which is fine, and it turns a beautiful jet black color. With carbon steel, typically, the metal is very non-porous, and so it doesn't collect carbon. The carbon, if you do get some, will sit on top of it, and you actually need to get rid of that carbon because it's going to hinder how well your pan works. So if you're concerned about the color of your wok, don't be. You just want to worry about the sticking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
And seasoning on a wok, it can be remarkably clear. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you can have it all seasoned up and look like, is that bare metal? And it's not.
Yep. So my
That's what I
recommendation.
noticed with your pans.
What's that?
Is
You'll
that-
have spots that look like bare metal.
Well, yeah,
but
there's
they're
a few
not
spots
bare
that are like bare metal, but and then that spot that is bare metal, like as you cook and keep
We'll
seasoning,
start filling back
it'll
in.
start darkening,
Yeah.
But yeah, at first you're like, is it gonna stick right there? And then, you season it, put it away. I usually like keep it on the burner after I'm done and rinse, and then add oil.
Yep.
Wipe it around, and then once I see that the oil's starting to like smoke a little bit, I'll turn it off and maybe wipe it one more time real quick.
Yep.
And
That'll
then
do it.
next time I go to use it, even though there's like some silver spots, I don't get any sticking.
Right. And so some of my favorite pans, they almost look just silver on the bottom and they're dark on the edges, and I can do a French omelet and it'll flip right over. But my recommendation in your wok is if you rub your hand in it and you feel anything besides silky smoothness, you need to get a chainmail scrubber and you need to go to town on that thing.
You can also use an SOS pad. Those
Yeah, an
seem to be
SOS pad will
working
work
pretty
too.
good too. Yeah.
An SOS pad's a little more abrasive, but if you have built-up carbon, the SOS pad may or may not take it off. If you're just doing a quick cleanup, SOS pads are great. It will take any seasoning off a little bit more than a chainmail.
And certainly all any residual oil. So I mean, as
Right.
soon as
Oh,
you're
yeah.
done, you need to re-oil that and re-season it, or at least
Yeah.
re-oil it till you get around to heating it up and seasoning it again.
And don't leave too much oil in your carbon steel when you're done using it.
Yeah.
Wipe it out like dry with a paper towel. You don't want to leave a lot of extra oil because we discovered that oil will start to polymerize at a lower temperature or kind of dehydrate and leave sticky spots on the inside of that, and then you will have sticking. So scrub that bad boy out with a chainmail. Make sure it's totally silky smooth inside. Throw it on the burner. If you have gas, you're in business. If you have electric, it's a little tougher to get the whole thing seasoned. You might have to do it in the oven if it doesn't have a wooden handle. But if you have gas, throw that thing on the gas burner. Put a little bit of vegetable oil in the bottom. Grapeseed, avocado work great. Crank the burner up. As soon as you see a little bit of smoke, turn it off. Wipe all that oil around the inside of your pan. Let it cool down a little bit. Turn it back to medium. Let it get real hot again. Not quite smoking, but hot. Add a little bit of oil. Drop an egg in there, and that thing, you won't have any issues. That thing will just slide around. Just slide around.
Sliding all over the place.
Sliding. It's my
Yeah,
favorite kind of eggs.
I like when them eggs are sliding.
How do you want
around.
your eggs? Sliding.
I want them sliding around, man. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You want to talk about these hammers that we got made?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got one made, right?
Yeah,
That
a little,
is-
little.
That's heavy. What
Apparently
is that
the,
way?
Apparently the perks of podcasting.
Yeah.
So we've been made fun of repeatedly by Justin and other folks who have seen our videos in the forge here. But Matthew Donaldson from Down Under from Australia reached out and talked to us a little bit about getting some hammers made. So he hooked us up. We got this sweet rounding and ball peen hammer, and he actually made the ball peen just the same as our favorite hammers that we have here.
Really?
So that we can do the texture just the right size.
Heck yeah.
So it looks very similar weight. So we cannot wait to put some handles on here. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is wrought iron in the center
Yeah.
and then tool steel on the faces, and he's forge welded this together.
Yeah, and he did that with the dog head too.
Dude, that's
and the dog
incredible.
head has these like cool fullers in it too. And I know that like using Michael Hoops's hammers, like hammers that have fullers, they just ring. I swear, I don't know if
Do
it
they?
gives it more bounce or what, but like the return, like after a hit,
Yeah.
like it comes right back up into your hand.
So traditionally, though, I don't think a dog head style hammer has fullers. Is that
I know.
right?
Yeah, I don't know. He just I don't
It
know if
looks
he
pretty cool, man.
experimented with
I
it
think
or
it looks
what.
neat.
Super cool.
And
Yeah.
it looks like he put tool steel on the backside, which this is not I mean, this does not have two working surfaces on a dog head. Was that for a reason, or?
I think he said he was just maybe worried about the wrought iron splitting at the butt, so he wanted to add.
So the back on that hammer is not a working surface?
Well, it is now. He put tool steel on
Okay,
it.
I was going to say,
but-
it looks like a...
But traditionally,
Like
I
a
don't
rounding
think you
hammer,
normally
right?
use the backside of a dog head as a working side, right?
No,
Okay.
but I don't know. Fuck it, we can now.
Oh, dude, that's badass, though. So we're looking forward to putting some handles on these. So thank you, Matthew. We appreciate
Yeah, I went to
you.
Ace Hardware and
So, and you can look at, is it Eucalypt Blades, is that right?
yeah, Eucalypt Blades on
Out of
Instagram.
Australia.
Eucalypt_blades.
Yeah, and he makes some really awesome knives, and it looks like he's trying to dive into the hammer making
Dude,
stuff,
that's
and he's doing a good job. So
Well, thank you for not, helping us to not be the laughing stock of the blacksmith community by making us a beautiful,
Finally.
non-bought at Home Depot hammer.
yeah, it'll make you more excited to like jump on the anvil. But I know you're going to be sitting in front of that power hammer.
Hell
hammering
yeah,
this
as
thing.
much as I possibly can.
I think I'm sitting in the official power hammer chair.
You
right
are,
now.
yeah. I mean, I bought this chair at a thrift store, and literally, I mean, it is the best chair in the shop for doing so many things.
It's got that footrest on there that just lines
and
up
it
your
rolls
foot with.
just right. You can adjust the back. It's not too comfortable, but it's like comfortable enough.
So speaking of power hammer chairs, no, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to put a chair in front of mine. But yeah, I'm kind of like not using my power hammer right now. It had some like copper shims where the head slides up and down.
Yeah.
And they keep flying out. And I think
Are they copper or bronze?
they're copper.
Okay.
I think the guy who had it last was just like there was some slop in the head, and he wanted to just shim it and put maybe a Band-Aid on it and just work it a few times. Because I mean, it works for a while until that shit just flies out. So I've had because I was like, oh, this is how they had it before. It probably ran for years like this. Probably not. Because his shim flew out, and then two of the shims that I made for it flew out.
Is something holding him in?
Kinda. Like there's one bolt at the top, so I'm folding over the copper, and then there's a little washer, and then it's not much holding it up or
We need to
holding
take
it
that
on
thing
there.
apart. Looks like
So,
one of the toggle
That's what I was gonna
bolts
say.
is broken too.
Yeah. So that was what I was going to say. I'm actually going to take it apart and try to shim everything correctly, because there's some old like lead shims in there and whatnot. So I'm not running it right now. I got excited and posted videos, and I'm like, oh, I had this power hammer up and going, guys.
I think we did that too when we got
Yeah.
the first one that we ever bought. It was all over our stuff for a while,
Yeah.
even though it was completely non-running.
Yeah.
As Justin knows.
Well, the one we bought most recently, we had to redo all the shims in that also. It's an air style hammer. I wonder if you can use UHMW in there
I don't
to
know what
work
that
as the
is.
shim. It's like that plastic that's like self-lubricating that you use for guides. and
High
stuff
density
like that.
plastic.
High density plastic.
Yeah.
We'll take it apart and take a look. I'm not a
Yeah.
pro at that. We'll have to get somebody who's a little more versed.
I had Jamie come over from Roadrunner Knives, and
Oh, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
so I want to take it apart with him, because he's
What?
very-
Okay, wait,
you don't have
wait,
confidence
what?
in me
What?
here?
Oh no, I do. But
I'll help you take it apart. He can help you put it back together.
Yeah.
but he's been over like 10, 20 times. You've only been over once, and it was for like 5 seconds. So
Well,
I don't see you
Just
coming
long
over.
enough to piss
know
off your
how-
daughter.
Yeah.
You know how important it is when I show up then, I'm just kidding. I'm not. We need to do more stuff at Justin's house, but we're waiting for it to cool off a little bit, right?
Yeah. No, I was just talking to my apprentice, because I mean, he's so excited. He's excited to hammer in like 110-degree shop and stuff. Like,
Wait till you can
And-
actually hammer for like
and I'm
an
like,
hour
dude, just
straight.
wait till the winter time. We'll like start a bonfire. You can smell the juniper in the air, and then we just like fire up the forge, have a few drinks, and just forge all night.
Is this
you know?
Woodstock or a blacksmith shop?
It's a blacksmith shop. Trust me.
Free love and blacksmithing.
Shit. I don't know. It's fun though, dude. I love the winter times. And I usually like toss some food over the campfire too.
Get some Grateful Dead going.
That's one thing I need is a good speaker in the shop. So whenever we got the party
Oh, there you go.
Woodstock vibes going, we can really blare some stuff.
Well, I'm
some
excited.
hippie
When it's
shit.
nice out, we'll actually come and like work at the shop a little bit with you.
That'd be
Some
cool.
products
You need to
there.
finish your knife. Oh, I forgot to bring it.
Dang, I do need to finish that. Jamie's been a huge help with that. He's pretty much told me exactly what to do step by step because I am a fool when it comes to knife making.
Yeah,
We just started selling pans, and so that's what we make now.
Yeah.
But
we'll teach you.
That's our thing.
you don't want to teach me too good, or I might start selling
Making
knives.
some shit. You're like, oh, you can make them in 3 hours now? Show me how to make those.
Well, I know better. I know if I start selling knives, you'll start making pans. So,
True.
hey, maybe we could collab on some stuff. There you go.
Well, we did collab on
We
a
did.
spatula.
Good segue.
Yeah, the guy who made our intro and outro music, my friend Aaron Gore, amazing skateboarder. He's actually pro, and I don't know, he's a really good friend and audio engineer. But we were like, yeah, we're gonna make you something for doing our intro music, and we kind of forgot for a while. So we did a little collab on a spatula. We'll have to post it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna really love it.
I think so too. It's got a bottle opener on it. How could he not?
Yeah, no kidding. Now that you told us we should do that, and then we made one, and it worked out well, we might have to do more of that.
Might have to.
I don't know.
Might have to incorporate that into some of our other spatulas. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and an update on some other products that we're working on. The gentleman, Lou, who owns Solumax, which is a spinning company and pressing company out in Gilbert, stopped by our shop and picked up some of the spinning chucks that we have here for like an 8-inch egg pan, a small spice bowl, and what else was it?
Was it a saucepan?
Oh yeah, a small saucepan. And on the bottom of the saucepan, it was originally, it still has the writing on it on a label on there, one of the Revere brand
Wow.
saucepans. So it is literally, I mean, we're going to be making new old style or old stock
At least-
style
at least the-
stuff.
yeah, you
Now
should.
they weren't doing copper. We're going to be spinning this out of copper. I think they were doing those
Yeah.
out of stainless, right?
Yeah, I think the Revere had the copper bottom, copper
Okay.
plate on the bottom. I
But,
think they're stainless with the copper plate on the bottom.
So he came by. We have him getting started on hopefully making walks for us also. But he's like, hey, these chucks are sitting here and they're ready to go. They don't need modification. I could like hook these up tomorrow to one of my spinning machines. Like he already has the threaded, converter that goes onto his machines. So I hope tomorrow we will go pick up some sheets of copper, drop it off at his shop, and we could have some stuff spun, hopefully within the next couple of weeks.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
And then we have
just
to learn how to tin stuff.
Got to learn how to tin it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. We were talking about that the other
Yeah.
day. And do you know about the process at all? Because I'm curious.
Vaguely.
We've watched YouTube
roughly,
videos.
Yeah.
Well, explain-
We started University of YouTube. but,
Explain what you saw on YouTube. Then I'm
Okay.
really curious.
Basically, you find the jankiest little camp stove you can find,
Yep. Any kind of gas stove.
and some tin. You got to get. We have tin actually,
Yep,
and we
food
have
safe tin.
flux. We
Yep.
got some flux.
Oh, you got to use flux.
Yeah,
You
and I
do,
think
yeah.
they put some sort of clay on the outside, so you don't
So,
get some tin on the outside. You
typically
put
use- Mm-hmm.
some sort of a coating on the outside to keep it from.
It's a gypsum,
Okay.
typically, like drywall. Actually, you
So
can use drywall.
As you say,
mud.
so you rub it down with drywall.
And it just needs a thin layer. So what'll happen is as you're tinning the inside, think of soldering copper pipes, right? Typically the tin only sticks where there's flux. However, it will stick to copper anyways, maybe not well. So if you don't protect the outside, you end up with tin all over the outside. It makes a big mess. So you just put a light layer of gypsum on the outside, wipe it on, like super thin. Doesn't have to be thick, just to prevent that tin from sticking to the outside. You heat it up with a little bit of tin inside, and tin melts extremely low, like around
400 and
420 degrees or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah. I guess we should look it up before
Yeah.
we say it, but
And so you wait for the tin to liquefy a little bit.
It melts at a low enough temperature. One of the issues with traditional tin-lined copper pans is if you put it on the stove and turn it on and walk away, think you're going to go get in the fridge and get stuff while it's heating up, and you leave it
You
a
can
little
smear
too
it.
long
Yeah.
without any food in it, you can come back with a little puddle of tin in the bottom of your copper pan.
Right. So
So
yeah,
copper
exactly.
pans, are you gonna do like pots?
Yes, we're gonna do lots of things.
Saucepans and
We
small
actually
egg
have a pot
pans.
over here. I was gonna send it with him, but the damn chuck weighs like 90 pounds. and
Yeah.
Because I
he
was
didn't
like,
want
do you
carriage.
have to always have
back
like
seat.
make sure there's water or something.
Yeah,
in the
if you have
bottom?
food in it, you're fine. Now, and people are afraid of so many things like, oh, I can't brown at high heats. Yeah, you can. When you put food and oil and stuff in that pan, it takes that heat right out of it, right? Like when you're frying, even at a high temperature, you're usually only around like 300 to 350 degrees. You're not nearly as high as you think. And if there's any liquid in it, you will never get it too hot until the liquid's gone. Right, because you're going to keep it around 200 degrees.
If you're boiling water, you're at 212. Yeah.
And so you can boil water.
Fahrenheit,
yes, for all of you weirdos. You can boil water in a paper cup.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, you can put water in a paper cup and set it in your fire, and it will
you can
not
boil
light
an
on
egg in the
fire
paper cup. Yeah.
until the water's gone. Maybe the top parts will start to burn, but nowhere where there's water touching it will it burn.
So weird.
So after you get the tin like flowing and melted inside, you take either fiberglass or pure lamb's wool, and you wipe the tin around until you have just the right amount, and then you dump out any excess, give it one final wipe, and you get a nice smear of tin around the entire inside of the pan.
You wear gloves?
I believe so.
would
Yeah.
probably wear
I
gloves,
wouldn't
yeah.
want to drop hot tin on my bare hand.
Yeah, I've gotten
I bet that's
weld
unpleasant.
BBs between my toes. I don't want that either. You know,
Your
you have-
toesies?
oh my gosh, that hurts. Bill learning how to weld.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that video the other day?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
What?
I posted it on the What's
Oh.
Cooking Instagram.
You didn't know that. I shouldn't have told him.
I'm weld famous. I didn't even know it.
Yeah. But so anyways,
I couldn't see a thing. In fact,
Yeah, for anyone that
the day after I did it, I went and bought a welding helmet that I haven't used
and
yet.
bought some cheaters to go in it.
And bought some cheaters to go
That's
in it
good.
too. Yeah.
That'll help.
what are the cheaters?
Like
Reading glasses for your
Oh,
welding
okay.
helmet. Because
Hell yeah.
I didn't know if you knew this, but I'm old.
Yeah,
is,
can't
yeah.
see. It's like my mom. Like she, every time she comes over, she'd be like, "Oh, what is that? That's cool." And I'm like, "Yeah, take a look at it." And she's like, "Well, I actually can't really see it. I can see it from far away, but not up close." And
If
I'm
you,
like,
yeah.
"Where are your glasses?"
Oh yeah,
"Oh, I
that is
didn't bring
cool.
them."
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's funny.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'm excited to watch you guys do that.
Yeah, we need to design new handles, and we want it to be like our goal with.
It's kind of like what you did with your knives. I mean,
Yeah.
we need
kinda
utilitarian,
redesigning everything.
redesign a handle to make a little bit. Well, not. We have to redesign handles for copper pans, which need to be pretty nice handles because those are not cheap
Yeah.
pans. But we also have to redesign handles for our what we have called up to now the $100 pan.
Yeah, and we've kind of have that one nailed down, I think.
Yeah.
But so with the copper pans, we want to go with like a really French-inspired style handle. So traditionally, you would have a super huge, heavy, thick cast iron handle on your copper. Copper is quite a bit heavier than steel, actually. So these pans are going to be close to 3 millimeters thick. And then we're going to tin the inside, and then they traditionally have that huge cast iron handle out. They're long, they're raised up. The boss where it connects to the pan is huge, and I think we want to go a little lighter but heavier than the handles we have on our skillets, because our goal with the carbon steel was to try to make them light, right, but still comfortable. With the copper, it's not really a saute pan, it's more of like a saucepan. It's holding still. You're not moving it around a lot while you're cooking. You're using utensils in it, so you want it to be heavy and stay put and to be able to heat evenly and all those things. So we'll probably, our handles on our skillets, we start with 3/16. We're thinking about going to like 3/8 for the handles on our copper stuff. I don't know. We have to experiment with
So
that.
yeah.
So the copper is going to get hot super fast, huh?
Oh, it's a super efficient heat
Oh, yeah.
transfer.
Does
yeah.
it get like you
Which-
think it'll get hotter than cast iron?
Well-
I mean, than carbon steel.
No, because you'll melt your tin.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
You shouldn't get it hotter,
It-
but
it
it
gets-
transfers it better.
it gets hotter faster.
Okay.
Yeah, so it comes
Yeah,
up to
because
heat way faster.
I think I said this before. My stove, the high on my stove is about a medium, so it's like
I think
it
you notice a
doesn't-
difference with the copper pan.
it doesn't
bet you
get very hot. It takes a while for the pan to get hot and stuff. So
Yeah.
I want to make one whenever you get it all figured out. I'll come in here and
Let's do it.
I'll make one for myself, and then I'll make a couple for other people too.
So what's interesting is traditional copper pans have the tin lining, And tin is actually a little bit even more efficient, I believe, if I remember right, in transferring the heat than the copper is.
It is, yeah. It's only second to silver.
To silver.
actually.
And the new copper pans, they line them with stainless steel, which makes them easy to clean, but it's like taking I don't know how
The least efficient metal and the most efficient metal
Yeah.
and bonding them together.
Yeah.
it's like
Like-
what do they call it when you travel together? Caravanning
Yeah.
a Ferrari with a Winnebago.
Yeah. It just makes no sense. So, the reason, about nobody who's listening to this has a stainless steel pan that is not a multiply that has either aluminum or copper or something in it, because there is so much chromium in stainless steel that it is a terrible conductor of any kind of heat. That's why they make them multiplied. And so when you add stainless, even if it's a very thin layer to the top of the copper, it's like you have, like Bill said, a
like a
Ferrari
buffer.
underneath, and it's just, it wants to heat evenly, and then you still have crappy results. Plus, unless you're screaming hot, everything is going to stick to that stainless steel.
Yeah.
For sauces, fine, right? But if you're trying to brown or saute or do anything else, you're going to have problems. With tin is naturally very non-stick. So you can make an egg pan out of copper and tin the inside, and you can cook eggs and they'll slide right out. So you're still gonna want carbon steel for the higher heat stuff, for the deep searing, to go in, there's a lot of reasons to have carbon steel, but that copper, if you're making a beautiful sauce, like a hollandaise, you have to get the temperatures just right, or you wanna boil water quickly and things like that, there's nothing better than copper. The only disadvantage to copper is it will only work on gas.
Yeah, you're not going to work on your
You're not
induction.
going to
yeah.
work on induction. Well, it'll work on electric.
Electric,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
it'll work on electric.
It just will not work on induction.
Right.
So they do make
Plates that you can put
plates,
on your induction.
but it's the same issue. You're using something that's much more inferior to the copper to transfer the heat to the copper. Now it will still probably work better.
Well, they
than
use
using
those
something
they use those
different,
plates
but-
to transfer heat to your Teflon pans. If they're
Right.
aluminum, aluminum's a great conductor too.
Right. So hopefully it takes that heat from the plate that might be a little uneven and evens it out
Right.
itself.
Which,
so
I
we'll
mean,
see how that goes. We might
So you
make
can
the
pull
plates
it off.
too.
It's just
Yeah. It's just
use,
janky.
use gas while you still can. Mm-hmm. So if you have the opportunity.
Trying to make it illegal in California.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
New York too, something like
And
that.
they're
yeah.
trying to make gas stoves illegal. It's killing us. All the carcinogens from the burning gas in our house is killing us. We need the government to save us from our own stupidity. Thank goodness. Thank goodness the government is here to save us.
That's funny. What are we at?
An hour 17.
Oh boy. Seems like
All
a
right.
pretty. It seems like a pretty good show.
we covered
did we
most
hit
everything.
everything?
Oh, there's one thing that I'm really looking forward to this fall.
Making money.
Yeah. Okay. So we use Shopify for our website. And every time we get a sale, my phone lets out a very loud and satisfying cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Yeah.
Ching. When I have my phone on silent and I look down and I see I got a sale, I am furious that I didn't get to hear it. It is
Dang it, yeah.
immediate dopamine release. You hear that sound, you're like, yes! Woo! Hell yeah! Time to go, baby.
Soda pan.
So I cannot wait to just hear that thing going off. I am so excited for that. They have nailed that. I won't switch who I use for my website
Because you don't
of
get the
that
cha-ching.
sound.
Yeah.
I
I
need
mean,
to
it is
get that.
out of this world how satisfying it is.
That
And when
seems
you
nice.
don't hear it, you could get a
Yeah, when you
$1,000
missed one.
sale and you're like, shit, I didn't get to hear the cha-ching. That's the best part.
So stupid. Oh man.
But I mean, it's that important to me. I love that much that I made a note to talk about it in the podcast.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. You should
Yeah,
change.
I ran through all my notes. So
So maybe we should add that little sound effect at the end of today's show.
Done.
so we have one person who followed us on Patreon.
Really?
No money, they just
Okay.
follow.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a start.
Yeah. Well, I forgot we had a Patreon.
That's
That's why
Barely
we.
better than
Do we need to
nothing.
do something
That's
special?
why we started cracking up last week, is because we mentioned our Patreon. But
Do we have to do something special for our Patreon?
no, because they don't pay
Let's-
us any money yet.
Well, what about the ones who do? Have we figured that part out yet?
We'll figure that out when it happens.
Well, yeah, I have on there that they get an extra show
Oh, that's right.
each month. So we would have, if someone does it, we're going to give them an extra show.
So there's going to be somebody out there
That's going to be like,
who's
let's
the
give them.
only person who gets our extra show. One person. They will the most special person is going to get
Bob,
their,
here's your show.
their very
Yeah.
own show
Oh my God.
just for them.
I feel like we probably sound so legit up till the end of our podcast whenever we mention the Patreon. Like, they're like, dude, these guys are legit. They're making a shit ton of pans, a bunch of knives, doing markets. Like, these dudes are killing it. And then we mention our Patreon. We're like, yeah, we have one member.
Well, we're just starting. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
Come on.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the 11th episode. So we're
11th?
Dude, we have
double digits
Hey,
now.
how many more episodes do we have to do before we get a special guest? Potentially. I mean, not that he would
we
do
need
it, but
a lot more.
a lot more.
we
Like 90,
need 89
90
more episodes.
89?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
And then we'll invite the special
Well-
guest and see if he'd do it.
We-
Which you won't, but
I think you will. We need to invite ourselves onto some other people's podcasts. But let me tell you,
Do we even know how to do that? Because we
No.
do it all in person.
no, that would be.
We
yeah,
would have
that's
to like
true.
sit on a laptop and figure out what streaming
Well,
website they use and stuff.
I listened to some cooking podcasts yesterday. My God, that's boring.
Yeah.
They took questions for 30 minutes from people on baking. They're like, I baked my cookies and they didn't get fluffy. What do I do? And they're like, less flour. And they're like, oh, okay.
Well,
And
it's
the next
funny-
person calls up and they're like, I
what was
made
it?
cookies.
Is it call-in show?
Yeah, I made cookies and they were too chewy. And they're like, more flour. And they did that for a half an hour. I'm like, I can't listen to this
I
anymore.
listened to like a maker podcast, like a blacksmithing one. It was like a new one that I haven't listened to before.
Yeah.
And it was pretty boring. I don't know. So it's like, I'm not going to say which one it was or anything, but
Yeah.
I was just kind of
Have we
like,
listened to ours, or is ours pretty
I listen to
boring?
ours every
Are
time
we-
it comes out, dude. I'm the first listen.
I listened
Sometimes
to
I'm the only listen.
like probably half of the episodes.
I listen to some, but I kind of feel like I've heard it. So
Well, yeah, but I give myself my own feedback. If I don't listen to it, I don't know what I need to work on. So
Yeah,
I would
okay.
recommend you listen, Bill.
I should probably take some notes too.
Yeah, I think you should.
Bill comes into this unprepared, but it's okay because he kills it. He's a goat, greatest of all time. And he eats weeds out of his yard.
And I eat weeds out of my yard.
All right, guys. Well, it was a pleasure doing this podcast with you today.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody who
Come by
listened
again
in
next
our-
time.
Come by next time. If you're thinking about making stuff in your shop, go out and do it right now. You know, we all took the leap of faith. We all had regular jobs at one point, and now we work for ourselves, and it's not easy. But I would say that it has been worth it.
Hell
So,
yeah! I
Get
think
out in the
it's way
shop and
worth it.
start making cool shit.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
make some
then
stuff.
Figure out who likes it and get it in front of them.
Yeah,
Make something you like first. Go from there. I mean, that usually doesn't work, but give it a
just
shot.
do stuff you like. If you don't like making shit, don't do it. But if do
No.
yeah,
Make stuff.
do whatever the fuck you want. Try to
There you go.
do that in life.
The ultimate
The
libertarian
Libertarian
over here.
Podcast.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
All
Over
right,
and out.
sounds good. Blah.